Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar mini-series on returning to work, surface cleaning and disinfection. My name is Robbie Carrozza, Senior Industrial Hygienist with EHSP Partnerships. As I'm sure some of you have already returned to work or are looking to return to work, I'm hoping my brief introduction today on surface cleaning and disinfection will put you in the right direction on what you need to do. Before we dive into it, I want to quickly introduce our Return to Healthy Workplaces Amidst COVID-19 speaker series. Over the next few weeks, we'll be posting a series of videos providing information on how business owners can plan and execute the safe return to work of employees during this pandemic. We have framed our discussions around the concept of integrated worker health. Essentially, integrated worker health is a shift in focus from the traditional practice of simply protecting employees from physical hazards to a more holistic approach. It considers all job-related factors that can affect work health, such as physical, mental, work, and real-life elements. For more information on integrated worker health as it applies to COVID-19, check out Glenn's video. The link is posted in the description box. You can also visit our integrated worker health consulting page on the EHSP website. Again, see link below. Today, we'll build off Spencer's presentation on exposure control and communication. We'll go into a bit more detail about cleaning, disinfecting, and confirmatory testing. A few months have passed since companies have started modified operations and welcomed employees back to the workplace. As people get into the new normal habit, it's even more important that we understand the important role that the cleaning and disinfecting process play in keeping employees safe. At this point in time, there are three known primary methods of transmission for the coronavirus. One being through a cough or a sneeze, the second being through close contact of an infected individual, and the third being through surfaces. The million-dollar question that everyone asks on a daily basis is, how long does coronavirus live on surfaces? Research has shown that there are many factors involved in determining this answer. Environmental factors such as temperature or humidity have an effect on how long the coronavirus can live on a surface, as well as the type of surface that you are in contact with. The research shown by the University of Alabama at Birmingham has depicted that the coronavirus can live, depending on the surface, anywhere from a few hours up to multiple days. The average size of the coronavirus has been shown to be about 0.125 micrometers or microns in diameter. The coronavirus has been primarily transmitted in the form of respiratory droplets that are greater than 5 microns in diameter through coughing and sneezing. Touching an infected area, then touching your mouth, nose, or eyes before washing and disinfecting your hands may lead to the infection of the coronavirus. The coronavirus that causes COVID-19 is also called more specifically SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-2 is essentially an enveloped virus with a lipid cell membrane and a nucleocapsid protein layer. Now, that may not sound like anything to you, but from a medical standpoint and a biological standpoint, these are things that can allow disinfectants to effectively strip away or disrupt the membrane of the outer surface. So this allows a disinfectant product that's approved by Health Canada to work effectively at removing or eliminating the source of the coronavirus. So what is the difference between cleaning and disinfecting? We often hear these terms quite interchangeably and in some cases improperly. Cleaning is a term used to remove germs, dirt, and impurities from surfaces or objects. It does not necessarily kill these germs, viruses, or bacteria from the surface, but rather removes them. So in some ways, it still lowers the likelihood of us contracting COVID-19 from that surface if it has been cleaned of its impurities. Disinfecting, on the other hand, is when you're using chemicals to kill these germs, so bacteria or viruses in this scenario. It lowers the risk of contracting COVID-19 even further if you're using a disinfecting agent. Sanitization is a term used to make clean or disinfect, whereas sterilization is a term used to make completely free of bacteria or other living organisms. It is very important that cleaning occurs before disinfecting. Dust loadings, grime, oil, and grease on surfaces can act as mediums for viral transmission. They can also reduce disinfectant contact time with any microbes. and they can reduce the effectiveness of some disinfectants such as hypochlorites that can be inactivated by this organic matter such as grime and soil. Another common question that comes up is, where do I clean and disinfect in my workplace? The right answer is everywhere. However, that might not always be reasonable or practicable in every single workplace. So therefore, the focus should be on what are called high touch point surfaces. High touch point surfaces are surfaces that people have most contact with. Light switches, door handles, elevator buttons, and the list goes on. As people aren't very necessarily accurate with what and where they touch, it is recommended that cleaning and disinfecting extend past the focus item at least 3 to 12 inches. So what are some examples of high touch point surfaces? So we already mentioned a few, and as you can quickly imagine, touch point locations will vary by facility. A hospital setting versus a school setting versus an office building will all have different touch points. Therefore, it is a little bit difficult to come out with an exhaustive list of touch point locations, so it will vary by facility. It is, however, recommended that at least twice per day, if not more, these touch point surfaces are cleaned in an occupied setting. So when we are looking at cleaning and disinfecting of hard surfaces, there are certain chemicals and products that must be used to effectively do their job. When it comes to cleaning a surface, use of any sort of domestic detergent or soap can be effective at removing impurities from that surface. When it comes to disinfectants, however, Health Canada has published a list of approved hard surface disinfectants that can be used and that have been laboratory proven to be effective. Each disinfectant that Canada has published has what's called a drug identification number. Some alternatives can include, for instance, bleach, where you can add up to 5 millimeters of bleach for every 250 milliliters of water. Disinfectants that are used must be at least 60% alcohol in order to be effective. So what are some of the do's of disinfectants? It's very important that the agent is applied directly to the surface as opposed to the rag and then onto the surface. This prevents cross-contamination and allows for the product to work more effectively. There's also a requirement for contact time. So the surface that you're applying the disinfectant on needs to stay wet with the disinfectant for a period of time as according to the product specifications. And for health and safety measures, it's important that you're wearing proper PPE and ensuring you have adequate ventilation in the area that you are applying the disinfectant. As well, one of the main things, especially with some ammonia products, is that they cannot be mixed with other products that are disinfectants, or else there could be a harmful reaction. Up to this point, our main focus has been on cleaning and disinfecting of hard surfaces. But what about porous or soft surfaces, such as carpeting or upholstered furniture? It is very important that any cleaners that are being used are used appropriately for that type of surface. And HEPA-filtered vacuum cleaners, also known as high-efficiency particulate air filters, must be used when you're cleaning or disinfecting those surfaces. One primary method that has been used to help kill germs in the carpeted or upholstered furnitures has been hot water injections with temperatures of at least 60 degrees Celsius or higher. Clothing, towels, or linen suspected to be contaminated with coronavirus should appropriately be laundered in the hottest water setting possible. Another important question that comes up is, what about electronics? It's very important that the manufacturer instructions are followed for cleaning and disinfecting of those devices. Consider also wipeable covers for the devices so that they can easily be cleaned following use of them. If no information on cleaning and disinfecting is available for that device, then use alcohol-based wipes or sprays with at least 60% alcohol. You may need to apply the disinfectant to a cloth or towel first before you apply it to the device. You must ensure that the device dries after appropriate contact time to prevent any sort of damage to that product or device. Inappropriate cleaning can void warranties of your device, so it is very important that you get all the information you can for that device before you apply a disinfectant on it. One of the primary ways of applying disinfectants is through the use of hand wiping. Using the double wipe method has been a common method that is used to properly disinfect a surface. So what it does is it allows 2 wipes to be used. One wipe is dedicated to a horizontal clean, and the second wipe is dedicated to a vertical clean. This allows enough contact time on the surface so that the virus or the bacteria can get killed effectively. The second method in cleaning and disinfecting could be used through the use of fogging and UVC disinfecting agents. Applying disinfectant in the form of fogs or mist to areas can be an effective way of capturing further spatial coverage than you would if you were to hand wipe. Disinfectants can be vaporized hydrogen peroxide, chlorine dioxide, or any other approved product by Health Canada. You need to calculate generation rate based also on the volume of the space that you're cleaning. UVC disinfecting unit is another form of disinfection. It uses electromagnetic radiation to kill all bacteria and viruses in all areas that have been in contact with that UVC. Another method of disinfection could include electrostatic disinfecting. It essentially electrostatically charges the disinfection solution prior to being sprayed onto surfaces. These positively charged particles allow for greater attraction to the surface and therefore greater coverage. They're effective due to their higher aerial coverage, especially hard to reach places. So how do you know if you effectively cleaned and disinfected a surface? The answer is through testing. In Canada, the National Microbiology Laboratory is working with public health labs nationwide to speed up this testing. Testing methodologies will evolve as new information and technologies become available. One of the ways you can test a surface is through what's called surrogate testing. This specific type of testing can be used using an ATP meter. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. It is essentially an energy molecule that's present in all living and once living matter. It is responsible for storing and transporting energy in cells and includes bacteria, fungi, or also known as mold, blood, and saliva. It can be used as a chemical marker for overall biological activity. One thing about the ATP testing is that it does not specifically measure viruses. ATP testing can be used to measure the overall cleanliness of a surface. It essentially uses a patented swab that wipes the surface of interest and then is placed inside this ATP meter that has a luminometer. The light producing action that occurs inside the luminometer gives you a reading that is in relative light units. This relative light units can then be compared to industry accepted criteria that are used for various applications. The greater the quantity of light generated, the greater the overall biological loading left on the surface, and therefore the requirement for further cleaning and disinfecting of that surface. The other form of testing is through analytical methods. Some have called this PCR testing. It essentially records the presence absence of RNA virus that causes COVID-19. It tests the genetic material of the virus, and it is completed by using a 5 by 5 centimeter surface swabs and can also be completed through air sampling. So what does a positive result mean on your test that you have conducted on a surface? The positive results indicate that virus's lipid cell membrane and protein layer are still intact, which means that the virus is still present on the surface. In other words, the RNA genetic makeup has not degraded. So therefore, more cleaning and disinfecting is likely required. The tests that are given are a measure of cleaning efficacy, but it's not necessarily an estimator of infection potential. Analytical methods also include culture enumeration. So it essentially allows the sample, and in this case bacteria or virus, to culture and grow and be incubated in a chamber that will measure the specific viruses that are present on a surfaces. It is very important that a surface cleaning program is implemented in the workplace. The surface and touch point protocols that are installed in the workplace should be thorough enough so that anyone could use it. The program should include frequencies and locations of cleaning and disinfecting, and communication of the program is of most importance. In conclusion, cleaning and disinfection is one of the many controls that can be implemented in the workplace. Ensure you have a way of measuring cleaning efficacy. Speak to your occupational hygienist or a health and safety professional for proper direction. And it's very important that you get your information from reputable sources such as Alberta Health Services, the Public Health Agency of Canada, the American Industrial Hygiene Association, or the World Health Organization. Thank you for everyone's time today. I hope this helped you gather information that you were looking for to guide you in the right steps you need to do for cleaning and disinfecting in your workplace.